Polar bears are the largest carnivorous land mammals on the planet. They measure around 7 to 8 feet in length, from the nose to the tip of their very short tail. Male polar bears are significantly larger than females. A large male can weigh over 1,700 pounds, while a large female is about half that size. Bears can gain around 50% more weight after a successful hunting season compared to the beginning of the next. Most of this additional weight is stored as fat. A newborn polar bear weighs only about 1.5 pounds. Numerous physical adaptations of the polar bear help it maintain body heat and survive in its icy habitat. The bear's outer layer of fur is hollow and reflects light, giving it a white appearance that aids in camouflaging. The skin beneath the polar bear's fur is actually black. This darkness is visible only on the nose. Polar bears also possess a thick layer of fat beneath their skin's outer layer, which acts as insulation to retain body heat. This insulation is particularly crucial during swimming and in the bone-chilling cold of winter. The bear's large size reduces the amount of surface area exposed to cold per unit of weight, which generates heat. The polar bear's foot pads possess a sort of non-slip surface, enabling them to gain traction on slippery ice. Polar bears boast strong legs and large, flattened feet with some webbing between their toes, aiding in both swimming and traversing icy terrain. The broad paws help prevent sea ice from fracturing by distributing the polar bear's weight as it moves. The webbed feet distinguish polar bears from other bear species, categorizing them as marine mammals alongside seals, sea lions, walruses, whales, and dolphins. Nonetheless, they remain bears. The polar bear diverged from the brown bear 1 to 3 million years ago, which still struggles to survive along the northern shores of the Arctic oceans. In contrast to the immense polar bear, which thrives on a diet rich in seals, its Arctic ancestor is diminutive, reproduces at a much lower rate, and eagerly consumes nearly anything available in its environment. Polar bears have evolved differently from their ancestors. While most polar bears don't den, all brown bears do. When grizzly bear food is buried in snow during the winter, this species must den because there is nothing to eat. In contrast, most polar bears have access to their food of choice, seals, all winter, so there is no need for them to den. The exception to this is pregnant adult females. Pregnant female polar bears must den so that their tiny newborn cubs are born in a warm, protected environment. Dens can be 38 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the outside temperature. Otherwise, the cubs would freeze to death in the frigid temperatures of the far north. Most polar bears are found north of the Arctic Circle, extending to the North Pole. There are some populations south of the Arctic Circle in the Hudson Bay of Manitoba, Canada. Polar bears inhabit Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and some northern islands owned by Norway, such as Svalbard. Polar bears depend on the sea ice, which forms over the wild waters where their seal prey resides. They will spend time on land when sea ice is not available, and most pregnant polar bear females den on land near the coast. Polar bears are exceptional swimmers and can cover significant distances between land and the sea ice if necessary. However, if a storm arises during these increasingly lengthy swims, caused by the warming ocean, they may drown. These long swims and storms can also be particularly challenging for cubs. During periods of ice breakup, polar bears often swim between drifting ice floes. Extremely durable, long-term ice that never completely melts is more crucial for polar bears than the seasonal ice that melts and reforms each year. This long-term ice is increasingly rare but is likely to persist longer in the island archipelago of northwestern Canada than in Alaska or off the northern coast of Russia. Unlike other bear species, polar bears are strictly carnivorous. They primarily prey on ringed seals but may also consume bearded seals. Polar bears hunt seals by waiting for them to surface on the sea ice to breathe. When the seal emerges, the polar bear will bite or grab the seal and drag it onto land to feed. They also scavenge walruses and whale carcasses. Polar bears will occasionally search for bird eggs and other food sources, but none of these are abundant enough to sustain the large size and dense populations of polar bears.